Hello, it's me, and this is by request. I had a request to go through a tutorial on this puzzle over here. This is called, I believe, an 18-sided Tetra pyramid Rubik's Cube. So you can do a search for that. You can get this off of eBay. You can find it around there, but it's an 18-sided Tetra pyramid puzzle is what this is called. In actuality, in terms of the sides, it has the classic Rubik's colors. You've got the green just opposite blue. It's two sides here. You've got the red just opposite orange, and the yellow opposite white over here. And in between, you've got all these little pieces over here, these false sides, so to speak. Now, this fits nicely with our Mod Squad series, because that's what it is, and this really demonstrates the approach to a modification puzzle. By that I mean this is a modification of a known puzzle where the core is the same. This is a 3x3. So anytime you're approached with something that looks a little confusing or a little off, see if you can correlate it with what it's modified from, and that can help you out with a solution, even if it looks a little more skewed. So taking a look, let's see what is defined as our side. So here's a side over here. This would be an upside. This would be a downside. I guess this would be a F side over here. Whereas all of these are kind of false sides. So once you do that, just kind of identify what are your edges and what are your corners. So if I turn this over here, an edge is going to join two centers, so that would make this an edge, 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 corner, 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 corner. So here's some quick observations with that. You're going to find that the juxtaposition between all of our quote sides is you have this gray area, literally gray area, that that kind of acts as an interface between the different so-called sides. So what that means is between two sides, between two centers, you're going to have a gray edge basically with small slabs, small slivers of the different colored edges, different colored sides between them. So that's how you can line them up. Now your corners are going to join three different colored sides, but then have the gray between that. And of course you're going to have these solid corners over here, which is the same. So these corners are going to be joining all the sides. So it's all pretty much just like a 3x3 with a little bit of an interesting twist at the end. Now I suppose I could have done different colors here, which might have lended to the challenge a little bit, but it does okay. So the movement, once you've done that, moves exactly like a 3x3. So you can see top, middle, and bottom over here. And the movement of this puzzle is pretty good. And as a mod type puzzle, it's of course a shapeshifter, which makes it interesting and makes it a little more challenging. So I'm going to go ahead and scramble this pretty well to lend to the challenge, and we will take it from there and kind of walk our way through this by request. Abracadabra. Okay, now generally with the series that I'm doing is with the mod series, I do assume a knowledge of how to solve a Rubik's Cube and knowledge about how to go through the algorithms. But because this is by request, I don't know that I want to assume that. Sometimes people get these puzzles, they find them, they get them as presents, and they don't necessarily have experience with a Rubik's Cube. So I'm going to kind of slow it down a little bit, go through some of the algorithms a little bit more so that you can follow it maybe a little bit more. So here is what I would do, and I'm really going through Rubik's Cube strategy right now. Find a side. So this is actually a side here. Although we're shape-shifted, again I'll point out that the relative conformation of the shape is maintained, which means the edges are where edges are supposed to be, corners are where corners are supposed to be. So edge, 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 corner, 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 corner. And this is a fairly simple looking modification in that all of our edges are pretty much the same shape, unlike some of the puzzles we're going to be going through. And the corners are pretty much the same shape, except you've got two different species. You've got the single solid gray, and then you've got this the shape over here where you've got three gray sides and then three colored sides. In order to get this, in order to get what I'd call the cross, which is putting all of my edges in the proper conformation, and because this is just one solid center, I don't have to worry about orientation with this particular puzzle. I'm going to be looking for those with the green slabs and lining it up here. So here's an example of one. So I just move this up here. So this is where it needs to be. I have to line this with the proper center. So find the white center, which is over here, and just move this into place. And that's what you want to do with all the other edges. So let's find another green right over here, but I've got to line it up with a yellow center, not this one. So I'm going to move this to the bottom here, which allows me to move this around until I find the yellow center, which is right here. I lock this into place, then I'm going to double turn this green up to here. So 1, 2. So I think you've got the picture. I'm just putting my cross in over here. To the one who requested this, if I'm moving too fast, let me know. I can slow it down. But in any case, here's the green. I'm going to lock the green down just opposite here so I can put this in the proper center. So I'm going to put this down, bearing in mind I just knocked this out. Move this to its proper center. Let's put this guy back up here. Now all I have to do is double turn this back to bring it in. So now that's where it needs to be. This is already opposite the green, so that's okay. Move this orange one to the proper center and move it in. Bang. This is the initial configuration that you're looking for in any cube, whether it's a mod or who knows. But anyway, we've lined up all of our centers, exactly like a 3x3. The next step is I want to solve my first layer, which is this entire face. So I'm going to put in my corners. So obviously the corner that's supposed to go here is not this triangular piece. It's going to be one of these. Now the definition of a corner is something that joins three sides. In this case it's going to be three colors: green, orange, and yellow. So let's find the one with green, orange, and yellow, which is right here. Green, orange, orange, and yellow. So let's find the proper place and move it in. So I'm just basically going to be rolling this up to here. So turn, and I'm just going to keep rolling it until it finds its way in. So turn it down, move it in so that this lines up, and move it up. So you can see we've matched this corner here. Over here, now this is probably going to take a triangle just like this. And it doesn't matter. I could put this one in, this one in, this one in. Now to those who've seen my videos, you know that I got to be very careful when I falsely equivocate one potential side with another. Can I really interchange these? And the answer is probably. The other question is, can I really interchange the orientation? In other words, I'm going to move this up to here. So I'm going to go turn, turn, and move it up. And I only had to do that once because this is symmetric on all sides. But is it actually supposed to be 30 degrees? Well, we don't really know. We'll find out at the end if we get some strange parity situation. Now over here, this takes another triangle. I might as well move this one in. So move this here so that I can transition this to up here. Turn, turn, and then turn. So you can see this side is emerging here. This one is going to look like this. So opposite, you have this shape. This is going to be green, white, and red. So find that. It's right here. And we just turn it into place. Turn, 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 and up. So now you can see we have our first side here. That's what that looks like. And what's more, we have our cross formation. By cross, I mean all of our edges are in place between the two centers. Once you've done this first layer, we then move to the second layer, and this is an edges only layer, in that I'm joining all of the centers together with the proper edge. To find that, if I wanted to find the one that goes in between here, it's the one that has the red slab and the yellow slab. Can we find it up here? Well, it's actually here. So let's do this one first. Red and white, we see that here, red and white. So to move that in, we put this just above the center where it's supposed to be, but this whole thing has to move down to here. So again, I assume you know Rubik's Cube methodology of moving this to here, but just in case you don't, if you have to move it from here down to the right, so from above down to the right, holding in this position, defining this move as a U move, this move as an F move, this move is a D move, this is an R move, and this is an L move. Sorry to be so basic, but again, I don't want to make any assumptions. Clockwise rotations is just named for the side that I just mentioned. Counterclockwise, I'm going to say prime. So in this case, to move this down here, we go U, R, UI, not prime, but UI, RI, U, FI, then UI, and then F. So that right side, you're going to see that that's going to move that in. So let's keep applying that. How about that red and yellow? Is that up here? Yep, right up here. So now we have to hold this one over here, and it's got to move to the left. As you can see, this is yellow and red, so this has to move here. So holding it here, we go UI, LI, U, L, U, FI, I'm sorry, F, UI, FI. So that's that algorithm, but to the left side. All right, sorry about that quick review there. In any case, I need to have the orange and yellow. That's down here. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do the orange and white one. So that's going to be this guy. Move this here. Same algorithm to bring this down here. Turn, turn, turn. With these mods, I'm always careful about moving too fast because I've had them pop and break. Not this one yet, so that's good. Now we just have to move this one, yellow and orange here. So move this down to here. Turn, turn, turn. Same algorithm that's mentioned. Turn and turn, so we're good. So now you see we finished the first layer and we've got the second layer, and I know that that's all in because these colors are all coinciding with each other. Now the true challenge of these mods is of course the last layer, and I find that each mod has its own unique characteristic. So the first thing to do is of course make sure that we place our cross. To place our cross, it means we have to rotate all the blues up. We see a blue slab here, blue slab here. I don't see the blue here, it's all down here. So basically the algorithm with that is there's a couple of conformations you're going to have. What I call the dot, which means everything is flipped upside down. You're going to have what's called the L, which you have two that are flipped right next to each other up. And you can have the line, which are two that are flipped up just across from each other. But the algorithm is the same. Anytime you see something that's flipped up, go to the side that's flipped down, and that's where you're going to start your F side. So here, the L is going to be up and to the left, and that's going to be, line this up right, F, R, U, R, I, U, I, F, I. Once you have the L, that'll convert it into a line like this, then do the same thing. F, R, U, RI, UI, FI, and it's like magic. You basically have all of them flipped up. Now once you've done that, the next step is you need to get your cross all in order. So pick one that's already in. In this case it's the yellow one. You could do the red one, really doesn't matter at this point. Hold it towards in front of you. This algorithm will keep this the same and start rotating these guys around. The goal is to put the one right next to it in, which is going to be the yellow one. So hold it here, and you have R, U, R, I, U, R, 2U, R, I. Then you can see eventually that's going to make it in here. But what about these guys? Well, keep holding it here, move it over by one with a UI, and then do the same algorithm just once more. R, U, R, I, U, R, 2U, R, I. Once you've done that, the cross will actually be in the right configuration. Just move it by the center. We're in, we're good, we're good. Okay, now the last step is placing the corners. Now here's the difference with this puzzle. With this puzzle, what you see here is you have one in, you have another one in, this one's out, and this one's out. Now with the Rubik's Cube, with the 3x3, you don't get any what's called parity. What's supposed to happen is one is supposed to be in and three are supposed to be out, right? You're not supposed to get two in and two out. But in this case, it doesn't matter because these two are truly equivalent to each other. So don't let that fool you. We're basically going to treat this puzzle like this is in and everything else is out. That this is not supposed to be here. This is supposed to be there. This is supposed to be here. And this is supposed to be here. So really, what we want to do is we just want to move this to here. So what this algorithm is going to do is this is going to be our corner rotating algorithm, where this is going to stay exactly where it is and these guys are going to rotate, and we're just going to do that until this is over here. These two can go wherever they want, as long as, you know, this can stay here, this can be here, or this can be here, and this can be here. It really doesn't matter. So let's define our sides here. This is up. What's going to be our F side? This is going to be our F side. So hold it toward the side, the corner that you don't want moved, to be kind of on your right side, to be joined between the right, the front, and the up. And we're going to do the algorithm U, R, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, L. That'll keep this the same, and it'll rotate these guys in. And in this particular case, this particular situation, everything was solved. But what about this situation? Let's say we did that, but things weren't solved. In other words, this is kind of out. So it looks like we have a parity situation here as well. We ran into something very similar with this guy here, if you recall, where we had one that was out and everything else seemed to be in. Of course, the reason that happened is you're not supposed to have just one out. By out, I mean it's actually in, but it's rotated wrong. This is actually probably rotated, or this is. So the way to deal with this is we're going to be moving this down, and we're basically going to be doing RI, UI, RU, RI, UI, RU moves until we get this rotated back. Once we do that, we then have to move it over and rotate these around, because it turns out one of these is not rotated the way it's supposed to be. Even though it looks like it, it's actually supposed to be skewed. So basically holding the one that's supposed to be rotated in front of us, we're going to do our RI, DI, RD, RI, DI, RD, and I'm doing this until this is rotated in the right position. D, RI, DI, R, D. So you can see this is in, but this is all screwed up still, so I have to do a U, and now I'm going to just rotate this around. I'm going to keep doing the same thing, rotating this around, assuming this is not in the right configuration. That's what I call the fallacy of false equivocation. I'm saying that it doesn't matter how it's rotated, but it actually does in terms of in order to solve it. So pretend like this is rotated wrong, just like this was, and do the same thing. Let's rotate it once and see what happens. RI, DI, R, D, and don't get confused, it's this one that we're turning. RI, DI, R, D, and all it took was one. Everything is in, and now it's solved. Okay, so basically it's solved just like a Rubik's Cube. The only difference is the specific orientation, and with the last side rather, we have to be aware that these guys might have to be rotated in order to properly finish that off. So look at that carefully. Let me know if that helped. Let me know if that answered any questions. If not, tell me what you still might need help with. So enjoy. It's a pretty fun puzzle, pretty fun mod. Thanks for watching.